Today, I want to talk about this topic. Stop letting others control you. I'm going to say it again so we can really understand. Stop letting others control you. And I know what you're saying. I'm my own person, Anthony. I don't know who you're talking to. Maybe I don't need to stay on here longer. No, you're the exact person I'm talking to. Stay. Oh, no, don't stop yet. Because you know how many times in our life we think we have this thing figured out. No one's got control over us, but realistically, we're still responding and reacting to a word that I think is one that we tie to something else. So I was thinking about this today, but I want to use this word triggers. We respond and react to triggers. We have things from our past that are like these open boxes, open wounds that anytime somebody connects back to that place, it triggers a response. It's kind of like if you have been physically abused and someone raises their hand, your natural response is to flinch. That's a trigger. Why? Because it doesn't mean that person's going to hit you, but anytime you have a defensive response based on that trigger. And this is generally what happens is our life is spent in defense because of these triggers. And I want to share because the last couple of days over social media, there's times where people post things and it drives me bananas because it's usually out of a place of hurt or out of a place of something in their life, a struggle that they've been in or whatever. But I saw this in a friend's post. A friend shared this, and there's an original post, and then someone put a red X through the original post and then posted an abridged version of what they thought it should have said down. Now, I'm going to speak the original post first, and then I'm going to go to the next one because I think there's value in talking through both of these because neither one is perfectly right. Both of them come out of a place of limitation, if you will. Here's what the first post said. I'll read it through entirety, and then we'll circle back around to where some of this can be, I think, misunderstood, can even be hurtful in places. Here we go. You're ready. Marriage is hard. Divorce is hard. Choose your hard. Obesity is hard. Being fit is hard. Choose your hard. Being in debt is hard. Being financially disciplined is hard. Choose your hard. Communication is hard. Not communicating is hard. Choose your hard. Life will never be easy. It will always be hard, but we can choose our hard. Pick wisely. Now, here's what I have to say about this. Coming to this word trigger. If you are a person who has struggled in multiple marriages, the moment you read that first line, you are triggered and you take offense to somebody telling you that you weren't good enough, that you chose divorce, that you chose to walk away from a marriage. See, this is how comments like this, people who think that they're doing things good, that are putting good statements into the world, that are challenging people to think beyond what they're doing, are actually triggering people to be stuck right where you are in a broken mindset. Because this first statement, marriage is hard. Yes, it's hard. I've been married for 19 years, and I can tell you my first year, I almost didn't make it out of it. It was a mess. Why? Because in our marriage, we allowed things that existed before we said I do to control our marriage. My wife was a very jealous person because she'd been cheated on in her past relationships. So every time I looked in the general direction of somebody else, another woman, I was cheating in her mind. I was on my way out the door and into somebody else's bed, into somebody else's life. Like that was controlling our marriage, although it wasn't what I was doing at all. Marriage is hard. Why? Because when you say I do, you say I do to everything before I do. You just don't get to pick and choose what you keep with you. That person is bringing it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. And it's up to you as you go through marriage to make it a little less hard day by letting go of some of those things, by trusting one another, to begin to lean on one another and help talk and walk through those things to be healed and let go. Like letting go is hard, but it's important. Yes, divorce is hard. And I know people who have had to walk through divorce, and it's not a choosing. You know what? If you've been sexually and verbally and physically abused in a marriage, if you've had someone who's cheated on you, you had no other choice. You were put in a place where you had to take the hard road of divorce. And it's just as hard to say, that's not who I am. It's not an identity. It was just a decision I had to make. So that statement, while it has the heart of something that's supposed to be good, because really the heart of it is if you say yes and I do to somebody, then you should go all in. There shouldn't be a back door of divorce when you get your feelings hurt. There shouldn't be a back door when you wake up one morning because they don't look the same way they did 20 years ago, because they don't say the same things, because you don't have the honeymoon phase there anymore, because the physical relationship is not what it used to be, because they're struggling in some areas of their life, or they lost a parent and now they're upset all the time and they're struggling in their self, whatever it is, whatever that thing is that's caused that person to shift and change. And now all of a sudden, well, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Get out of here with that mess. That is BS, and I don't want to hear it. It's crap. That is based on emotions. And if you said I do to somebody because of the way they looked and because your emotions told you to, then you are destined to fail, because loving someone is bigger than being in love with somebody. It's bigger than an emotion telling you it's time to walk away. There are things that will push you out the door, that have wounded, physically hurt you. I'm not downplaying that at all. But don't make this a decision of marriage or divorce. Make this a decision of, I'll say yes. I want to get through this. I want you to get to a place where divorce is removed from the table. But those people who have struggled and had to make that decision, or it's been made for you, don't let that statement be a trigger to you, because that's what it is. Second one, obesity is hard. Being fit is hard. Choose your hard. Here's what I've found. Stop accusing people of the things they already know. Most people who are overweight that really struggle in their weight and want to be better, look at the mirror every day and say, look at this. This is who you are. You're always going to be chubby. How do I know? My wife was this way. My wife was, after 3 kids, she wasn't heavily obese by any stretch of the imagination, but in her eyes, she needed to lose weight. And I remember her looking in the mirror all the time and just always struggling with, this is just who I am. I've had 3 kids. I'm never going to lose this weight. And one day I was standing there and I said, "Hey, fatty." And she instantly got very upset with me. As you can imagine, all you ladies on here right now are throwing something at your radio, or like, "How dare you, sir?" No, no, no. I knew the response I was going to get, and I was already positioned to respond back. She said, "What? How dare you?" I said, "No, no, no. I'm just using the same language that you use to yourself." And she had to stop. I said, "Every day you stare in that mirror and you say, I need to lose weight. I'm just chubby." It affected the way she saw herself. It affected all things in our marriage, really. And in that moment, she finally realized, wow, I'm addressing what I see instead of being able to walk away from it. And so this statement, obesity is hard, being fit is hard. Yeah, it is hard. But it's hard to choose one or the other when you've been stuck in one place, when you really tell yourself you can't. I have a friend of mine who within the last 3 to 5 years, he weighed 350 pounds. 2 weeks ago, he ran his first marathon, lost 150 pounds, and got down. And he was still, when he walked into that race, he said he was still one of the bigger people lining up to run this marathon. He trained for 18 weeks, and people said, "There's no way with your weight, there's no way with your body you'll be able to do this." Guess what? At 26.2 miles, when he walked across that finish line, he not only proved it to himself, he proved it to everybody else he could. It didn't start out with a decision of obese or being fit. It started out with being a decision of making a step in the right direction.